Hey, Tyler, you on your way to algebra?
Yeah, I'll see you there.
You're awful!
The preceding joke was brought to you by men.
Men, we don't know what we did.
Hello and welcome to the Hypertrophy Odyssey, chapter 194. It is the fourth day of the week, aka the shotgun dropkick workout, but it's probably not going to be called that because it's going to be kind of a weird amalgamation of days, but that's for a different subject matter for a different day. Today, I wanted to talk about something that I talked about in the last episode, which was a multifaceted issue of we're not having enough kids. And I wanted to talk about one of the facets of that, which was modern man. So the reason why this came up as the first of many of the issues that come together in order to cause this one greater issue, I feel like this one is one that I can talk about a lot and have a lot to say about it. So there is a new class of men that go around, or just dudes in general, that they're definitely different from the stereotypes of men of past. Men of past, you know, you have your jock, your nerd, your geek, you know, the average guy, the money nerd or accountant, or your fitness trainer, all those things, fitness person, all of those things still, for the most part, do exist. Whatever stereotype that you could think of from back in the 80s, it still exists to this day. Those haven't gone away. But there seems to be new breeds of these types of people, and there might be certain subsects of certain parts of these same, like, general genre of men. So you got, like, jock, nerd, you know, those things. They still exist, but they might be a certain subsect of it. And these new guys, these new types of dudes, I like to call new men. These dudes I like to call new men. So, not to be confused with new metal, because that's completely different. And if you listen to new metal, this has nothing to do with you. So, new men is the term I've coined for these types of people. These are particularly new subsects of these types of groups of people, specifically men, that are very prevalent in today's age. And realistically, they all have their issues, but a lot of the issues kind of overlie each other with one big ass issue underneath all of it. But we'll get to that in a minute. I wanted to discuss each and every one of them in their own individuality and how I see them in the world today, and how they kind of come together in order to make it so a, not all chunk, but a good chunk of the population slash men that are available out there are not really worth dating slash are also making it bad for the rest of us, you know? So it's like a combination of the two. And if I describe you in this video at any point in time, I don't want you to think that I hate you, but I also want you to self-reflect a little bit and maybe realize, hey, maybe some of the things that I'm doing aren't necessarily conducive into, you know, having a relationship or having somebody love me, or, you know, just general future thought. There are many of these people. I mean, I could name a couple off right now, but I'm going to wait until the voiceover so I can do a little bit more. But I'll say this as well. This isn't probably going to be the last time I talk about these. I could probably make videos about each individual one, let's be real here. But there are certain underlying overlaps that happen with a lot of these that are very interesting, but for some reason always happen. So we'll have to wait and see, but I'll discuss them when we get inside in the voiceover. I think that this is one of the multiple steps, because there are multiple issues that are going through it to make one big issue, that I want to talk about, because this one has been on my mind for quite some time, because seeing these people and interacting with certain parts of them and seeing the other side of it where the women who interact with these people and seeing that side of it having to deal with these types of people is quite astonishing / very saddening, very disheartening for the future of relationships in general. So that's why I wanted to talk about this first, because this has been on my mind for a while. So with that being said, I will see you on the inside.
Alright, so started this day off with seated calf raise, which was pretty good. Back to the main subject matter for this day. The new male, or the modern man. Now, when I made this was just kind of something that I wanted to talk about because, generally speaking, the modern man has been bastardized, I would say, into differentiating, but one character trait that seems very, very obvious to a lot of people once you realize it. I want to go into some of these just briefly, but I will, like I said before, and I'll probably say it again, each of these types of person can be made into a video on its own because of how particular they are, and thus I will just briefly talk about them and then try to give you a general idea of what they are like, because I think most people know at least one of these people. So let's start with the doomer. The doomer is usually somebody who has been completely black-pilled and also has no real reason to keep going in life. These are the types of people that you have to be very careful about because they are, quote, realistic, end quote, but to the point where they're unrealistic because everything goes horribly wrong in their life, and they're also never really deciding to do anything with their life, so thus they're really in a endless cycle going down the drain. That's one. Another type is this one is personal to me, is the video game nerd. I am part of that. I have been there, I have done that. Mostly these are the types of people that allow video games to consume their life and do absolutely really nothing else. Now you can make money off of video games and doing those types of things. I'm not going to harp on that hustle. I'm not going to do that because some people do actually make it into a career. Good job on them. Congratulations. It's very rare, but I feel like a lot of people end up spending a lot of their time, effort, and money into things that aren't going to really do much for them in the future, and also aren't even necessarily stress relieving like they once were back in the day, because I feel like nowadays most video games are multiplayer, and multiplayer games are just stress inducing. I have never met anybody that chills out, plays like a regular person on these things and has fun. It just seems like they just have to buy all these games and are stressed out. The other person is the gooner, the porn addicted dude who sees everything in highly sexualized ways. If you ask them to see their For You page on their Instagram, they will be instantly embarrassed because they do not want to show it to you because it's all women. And these types of people are relatively I wouldn't want to say sick in the head, but they can get to a point where they can have a lot of mental issues because of the fact that they allowed their brain to go into porn brain mode. Thus, everything becomes sexualized, and that is not good. Another one is the fuckboy. I don't want to go too deep into this. I think we all understand what the modern fuckboy is. Very low-key, very indecisive, very I don't want to commit to anything, but yet willing to commit himself to other women, or to a bunch of women, but just causing more of an issue for everybody else because of the lack of commitment. The incel, which is something that happens, unfortunately, but at the same time, it's your own damn fault, really. Most of these people that end up falling into this category in particular, it's a mixture of the doomer plus one of the other two, and as well probably a little bit of unfortunate genes, let's be real here, but at the same time you can get out of this, and most of the time they're just gonna self-sabotage themselves into not getting out of it, and or just being so neutralized by the world that they don't end up doing anything about it. So there's that. There's also the gym cell, which I feel like I was for a little bit there, where all I did was go to the gym. Well, I couldn't really be a gym cell because I had a wife, but still, the gym cell incel where it's like an incel but with just the gym replacing any type of or semblance of personality. It's the same thing. See the previous before. And then finally we have the MGTOW dudes, which just go gay, brothers. Just go gay. But the main thing that I wanted to touch upon about these, and I've touched upon it before, but you can see in a lot of these dudes, and this is I feel like the main issue with a lot of modern males today, is that many of them are very indecisive when it comes to things in their life. I think we have gotten to a point where paralysis by analysis captures everybody when it comes to males. And listen, I understand it. I've been there, I've done that. But I think that deeply really affects all dudes across all boards, especially the modern man, because I feel like the indecisiveness of modern day man has made it so people have no real base in and trust in man, if that makes any sense. If you think about it, just to put it in simpler terms, if we are supposed to be the rock and the foundation and stability of what is a society, we're not sure about that anymore, and that's an issue, because then if the foundation isn't stable, well, you can't really build anything, can you? Forgot to mention the stoner. That'll be a different episode.
But bro, I have to smoke, dude. And we're back. Welcome to the workout debriefing. Exercise is not filmed. None. Exercise is skipped. Also none. Got a lot in today. Yeah, today's a weird day. I'll probably do an entire video about it because I don't even know what it really is going to look like. It's like more of a Frankenstein. So, Frankenstein's monster. There you go, because the monster was the actual monster. It wasn't actually called... Frankenstein was the name of the doctor who created it. But anyways, whole other subject. To get back to the main subject, new males. So the reason why I wanted to talk about this, besides being on the mind for a while, and a smaller issue on top of a bigger issue, I wanted to discuss it because it is something that I've noticed quite a bit and quite often. A lot of similar characteristics from each of these groups that all share within each other to make these new males, which are really not good for a lot of different reasons, but mostly because realistically, what are you putting onto the table for a partnership, really? And of course, there are other things about that. It isn't just the only thing is the partnership, of course, but also as well, it is tough to do something like that. Well, how do I put this? It is a tough thing to have to deal with, particularly because it isn't necessarily just one issue, but multiple. And this is one of those parts that I feel like I could talk about because I feel like dudes can do better than what they're doing currently, because there is an issue with people like this. There is an issue with these guys, in which case they are trying to cope with other things and or using other mechanisms or solidifying their existence around one thing and one thing alone, whilst not diversifying themselves and or ignoring their issues and or mainly just not being decisive on things. I think that's a very big character trait of a lot of the issues with these people, is that they are just not decisive enough in the world, and realistically that's going to cause a lot of problems. And I think that's mostly, there's a lot of different reasons because of that. Maybe I think I've talked about indecisiveness, but maybe I'll do another episode about it. This is just one little factor in multiple things. It's not just this. There are other things, like trust is at an all-time low when it comes to relationships. So that will probably be what we talk about next. But I want to discuss this and then move on to the next thing, because there are multiple facets to this. This isn't just one side. The women's side also has their massive issues as well. Fuck, did I get fucking fucked? I might have gotten fucked by a camera. Not 100% sure. Hopefully I didn't. But with that being said, tell me what you think in the comments below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions about this one. I would love to know if you've ever had any interactions with people like this, where generally speaking, they are one of these types of males, in which case you kind of see these interactions and what I'm talking about, because realistically, they are not very good. So yeah, there's a specific air about them that is tangible, and most people can kind of like suss it out, but some people can't, and well, there's a whole other reason for that, but that's a whole other story for a whole other day. But anyways, with that being said, thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please share this video with anybody who may or may not like it. I will be back on tomorrow with a new video. Keep it heavy, stay safe, Stay warm out there, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!